Hey guys, Level Cap here, and welcome to This Week in Gaming, your weekly news recap on everything going on in the world of video games. This week, we got confirmation of the next Battlefield's release window. Rockstar confirmed some big details about their latest GTA 6 trailer, Palworld had to make some unfortunate changes, and much more. It sounds like the next Battlefield game will launch by the latest of March 2026. EA's CEO Andrew Wilson confirmed the game is launching in the company's 2026 fiscal year, which ends on March 31st next year. This announcement was part of his address during a recent investors call. In his remarks, Wilson was actually pretty candid about the franchise's less successful titles. He said that the community for the game is very important and that they haven't done a great job of communicating with players or done a great job of understanding what they really want out of the Battlefield franchise. To that end, Wilson says Battlefield Labs has been hugely successful with over 600,000 players participating so far. He also said the response to the playtest has far exceeded expectations, and based on the leaks that we've all been able to see, it sounds like he might not just be making this up. The footage that spread online the past few weeks has been pretty good looking and offers a glimpse at what might be a major return to form for the franchise. Playtesting is expected to expand beyond North America and Europe to select Asian regions in the near future, with more invites going out to players that signed up. Obviously, only time will tell if DICE and their partner studios can actually stick the landing this time around. Hopefully we don't have to wait too much longer for a release date announcement. June is right around the corner, and that's typically when EA revealed their upcoming releases. Rockstar have released the second trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6, which has apparently been watched nearly 500 million times across all platforms, and it's actually a mix of in-game cinematics and gameplay. They say in an official statement that the trailer is comprised of equal parts gameplay and cutscenes, and while the reception of the trailer has been very positive overall, fans are eager to see how the game actually plays. On Reddit, fans have picked a number of shots that they believe represent gameplay, like Jason lifting weights, Lucia's combat training, the couple riding a jet ski, and more. Overall, it's clear Rockstar are aiming at a very ambitious technical presentation, but with how vague the supposed gameplay shots are, it's still a mystery as to what sort of innovations and improvements players can expect when it comes to the gameplay. Palworld's ongoing legal battle with Nintendo has finally spilled over to changes in-game. The developers released a patch this week removing core features like being able to use a sphere to summon and recall pals. Using pals to glide across the map was also removed. They released a statement acknowledging the changes and called them an unfortunate consequence of their legal battle. In Nintendo-related news, Switch 2 owners could get their devices bricked if they mod or install any unauthorized games. The homebrew and modding scene for Nintendo's consoles is huge, with everything from firmware overclocking utilities to actual hardware mods for better screens, analog sticks, connectivity, and more. Overclocking tools for the original Switch were actually pretty popular and could give minor but appreciated performance bumps in more demanding games, but Nintendo says taking advantage of any such tool on the Switch 2 will get your device permanently disabled. This was discovered in the updated user's agreement for the device. And while it's worded in a way that seems like it's more focused on trying to not have players bypass security systems and account stuff, it's vague enough that it seems like it could encompass a lot of things. In other words, if you're planning on modding your Switch 2, it could be a pretty expensive hobby. Reviews for Doom: The Dark Ages are in, and they're mostly positive. Reviewers say the changes to combat, like the addition of the shield mechanic and less frantic movement, actually work well and make the game feel unique compared to Doom Eternal. However, some reviewers say the mech and flight sections lack the same level of depth the rest of the gameplay offers, dragging the pacing and fun factor of the game down. Reviews are also critical of the game's emphasis on narrative, since it sets up a lot of stuff early on and then doesn't do a whole lot to dig deeper with following cinematics and set pieces. Doom: The Dark Ages releases on the 15th. An 8-year-long community project to recreate Counter-Strike 1.6 in CSGO called Classic Offensives just got issued a cease and desist by Valve. The mod, which was set to launch as a standalone game on Steam, had been submitted to Valve for approval late last year. but they blocked the launch and the developers got to work auditing their project to comply with Valve's concerns. But apparently they got the final no this week, preventing them from releasing the mod in any capacity. There's a lot of speculation about why Valve shot this mod down when they've otherwise been very generous with their games. Some claim that Classic Offensive utilized leaked source code Valve has strictly forbidden modders from using. But a more obvious theory is, why would Valve want to let a mod team release a game onto Steam that's using Counter-Strike assets and gameplay to directly compete with Counter-Strike, which is one of their biggest money makers? Apple have fired an emergency hold to stop a court order requiring them to allow third-party payment systems on the iOS App Store. Last week, a judge presiding over the Apple versus Epic litigation determined Apple had acted in contempt of their previous rulings and told the tech giant that they had to offer third-party payment services immediately. As with most court orders, an appeal was expected. Apple are challenging some specific wording in the ruling they say clears them of wrongdoing. If their appeal fails, this could be a huge windfall for mobile games and app developers. It basically means that they can have in-app transactions that Apple will not take 27% cut of, which is a huge increase in revenue going directly toward developers. Gamers should also be celebrating because those earnings most likely will be realized in game development itself. The upcoming survival title Prologue, Go Wayback, is running an official closed beta. Players can register on the game's official Discord server. This is PUBG creator Brendan Green's next project that aims to have players exploring a planet-sized procedurally generated world with realistic weather that directly affects gameplay mechanics. Early previews of the game have looked promising, but very bare bones. It'll be interesting to see how the game is shaping up in its beta phase. The beta is running until the 14th. Tripwire Interactive has announced a revised release date for their upcoming co-op zombie shooter Killing Floor 3. Originally slated for a March 25th launch, the game will now be available on July 24th for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series consoles. They say the delay was made to address player feedback following their fairly rough beta experience. Areas of focus for improvement include general game design, enemy artificial intelligence and behavior, animation quality, and user interface elements. Dune Awakening is having a large-scale beta this weekend that just went live. The game will be launching properly on June 10th after it was delayed from an original release date of May 20th. The beta is intended to test the game's anticipated wave of interest for the full launch so the devs can ensure servers don't go down under the load. It ends on the 12th and will include the first 25 hours of the game. There's also no NDA preventing participants from talking about their experience or sharing footage and screenshots online. Squad's latest playtest for its upcoming Unreal Engine 5 remaster concluded earlier this week. Reviews are pretty mixed since the build is very early in development. Some players reported worse performance issues than they typically see in the current build. Others are praising the technical improvements like draw distance and lighting. I did an extensive look at the build, including the remastered version of Al Basra, which looks like an overhaul built for the UE5 update. Visually, the upgrade is very impressive. That said, I'm curious to hear what you guys think. And if you missed that video, check it out right here. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more content like it, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.